Good day, emerging mothers. Good day, good day, good day. It has been a while since you've seen me, and I am so glad to be back and that you all are joining. It's so good to see you. I have been out of sight, out of mind because I was diagnosed with COVID. And so, even right now, and if you'll just please be patient with me, then there's some information that I'd like to get to you because I've been receiving DMs and of course there's no way you would have known that I was down and out. And so as opposed to just responding individually over and over and over again, I said, I'm going to get up and I'm going to take this ibuprofen and the meds that the doctor is recommending, of course, which I have been. And I'm going to toss on some earrings and I'm going to just go ahead and respond this way, just so that you'll have this information. It's been about a couple of weeks, of course, and so I'm feeling much better. I am on the other end of it. Praise God. Would wish this on absolutely no one. Even in the meantime, I'm still working on regulating my breathing. And of course, there's just a little pain I feel from time to time in the back of my head on the right and the left. And then also just making sure that I'm using my inhaler throughout the day. But nonetheless, this is a short message. But the main question that I continue to receive via DM is, Dr. Lloyd, what is it that you and your daughters talked about in that final conversation when you are leaving them there on the college campus? What is it that you talked to them about? What information did you articulate? What thoughts did you share with them that helps them, that was going to help them throughout the years, even though we would continue to have meaningful dialogue from time to time? And so I want to share these 5 discussion topics that we focused on. And I'm so glad that you all are here and that you all are being patient with me. I thought to myself, listen, if they're unable to see me while I'm down, my goodness, then, just press pause or press delete until you think I'm looking and feeling better or what have you. But this will be a short conversation. And so I'm so glad that, and a number of you have been with me for months and months and months and months. And so, but by the same token, I know that you'll be able to just receive this information. First and foremost, with my daughters being on the outside of our front door, I knew that there were going to be things that they would see and hear. They were living here in our home. And when we are seeing and hearing and engaging with other people from different backgrounds and having to deal with situations and circumstances, that are out there in that world, this world, guess what? It can cause some stress. So I talked just a little bit first and foremost regarding how to go about managing that stress. And guess what? Even in addition to managing that stress, guess what? There's mental health that is a whole subject matter in itself. And so I wanted to make sure that my daughters were able to not only recognize when they were dealing with stress, but also being able to recognize stress and those triggers that ignite in others as well. I encourage my daughters, when they're feeling stress, they may have friends, their friends are dealing with stress, because there's a lot that goes on the college campus. And all of this, it's almost like opening up a water hydrant as it pertains to our children moving onto the college campus. And I'm just turning this up to make sure that the volume is up and you all are able to hear me. And so to get help immediately, if you're experiencing any type of stress or anything on the campus, you sense a friend is experiencing stress, to get help immediately. I know when we when we entered onto Mizzou's campus. All on the lower level, I believe it's of that student union, there's all types of resources, all types of help, all types of advice, all types of therapeutic counseling, all types of information that can be received, from talking to a person individually and conversing with them to brochures and pamphlets and all of that. You know, it's so interesting because the American Psychological Association in 2018 says that 1 in 3 college freshmen reported a mental health disorder. And so if a college freshman is already coming onto the campus with this disorder and then piling on all of these stresses with parents and family far away, it can trigger, it can double, it can triple those different reactions. And so, you know, if my daughters are feeling any type of stress, they know they can call me. If I'm unavailable, I want them to get help immediately. There's all types of help on campus. So that first and foremost, because I want to make sure that they're taking care of themselves. That's so very important. And colleges really must do better, because the amount of help that's needed from college freshmen, the resources are lacking. So the help or better yet, the need totally outweighs the help and the resources that are offered on the college campus. So that's my prayer, is that colleges and universities are able to do a better job in that area. So managing stress and dealing with how to go about coping and keeping ourselves safe and healthy mentally, first and foremost. That's what I talk to my daughters about. And then secondly, what I talked to them about before we were departing and jumping into that car and leaving and heading back to Texas, I talked to them about relationship management, number 2. That's very important, because when we talk about interacting, first of all, meeting friends on the college campus, which of course we all want our sons and our daughters to meet friends and have someone to talk to and to interact with. We want that. As a matter of fact, and I think I mentioned this before, is that my middle daughter, she would tell us, listen, you all are unable to leave this campus until I have found at least one friend. I need a friend. You all can't go in. And she was dead serious. You all cannot start up. Let's not even turn that ignition until I found a friend. And so I'm thinking, well, the first thing we need to do is we need to leave up out of this house. You know, we were in an Airbnb at the time, or we need to leave out of the dorm room, and we need to be on the college campus. We need to, you know, in order to make that happen, as opposed to indoors within 4 walls. They're all out there. Music is playing. All of this is going on. So nonetheless, relationship management. So once you do find a friend, and then you're interacting with that friend and just learning how to be a friend and learning how to engage with this new person, which you would think that would be, you know, totally, you know, understandable, and there would be all type of knowledge around that. But I mean, listen, we're going from high school to college, an unfamiliar place. These are older students, of course, and then we have all of these relationships that we need to manage, not only from finding a friend, but then also interacting with those professors and the faculty and the staff, and then, you know, entering into Greek life and all of these different relationships to manage. It can be a lot. So I talk to my daughters about that, and making sure that they are able to be a friend and to have good relations and to be flexible, and to, you know, them and their friend to be able to care for one another, and to apologize when an apology is needed, and to ask for help, and to, again, care for one another, resolve problems when a problem surfaces, because they will, and being able to be dependable as a friend. All of those different types of relationship management focuses, you know, under the umbrella of, and I know I talk a lot about teen transition and that, because that's the bulk, that's the foundation, that's the core of my message to mothers, and mothers as opposed to anyone, though that you all are my focus, you all are my inspiration, you all are my motivation, you all are my encouragement, as opposed to you anyone else, not the kids, not the hubbies, but the mothers. So you all are my core under the umbrella of, and some of you all may notice this, because when we talk about the different discussion topics as it pertains to the transitioning teen and what us as mothers, how we can care for ourselves, that's the gist of my of us if you will, conversing. But under that umbrella, you may notice in my talks that I'm sprinkling those constructs of emotional intelligence all throughout my talks. And those constructs have to do with, of course, self-awareness, making sure we know what's going on within ourselves. Also, it has to do with, of course, in addition to self-awareness, then there's self-management, being able to manage ourselves, being in control of ourselves under the with the help of God. Then also there's social awareness. And then that fourth component is relationship management. And that's making sure that we're able to interact with other people, not only our teens, but also other mothers, because as you all know, we've talked about creating and putting together a parent posse. I've mentioned that in my masterclass, and how to go about doing that and identifying those other mothers who are in the same boat you're in, and being able to provide that support, and being able to lock arms with one another, and help one another, and exchange ideas, and have meaningful dialogue with one another as we go through this together, becoming stronger and building ourselves up. And so those are the four constructs. So the second, taking care of yourself and being healthy, number one. Number two, relationship management. I talk to my daughters about that because that's so very important. We have to know how to get along. I mean, you know what? Even when your teens, my teens, transition off of the college campus and they're seeking employment, guess what? The employer, is their focus really on all of what you know and bringing you on board to just, demonstrate all of those skills? Well, what if they really don't like you? What if you're possibly not a good fit for their team that already exists within their corporate America structure? I mean, do they, because guess what? They can train the skill, but do they like you? I'm unable to share. We'll probably be on here, for, the next couple of hours, if I shared all of the statistical analysis that are available as it pertains to employers and how important it is to know, understand, learn that soft skill so that people in all actuality like you. So number two, chatted with my daughters about that. Number three, getting some rest. Now, I know that before I left the campus and I was sharing that with my daughters and how important it is to get some rest, I know it was like, I was talking to a brick wall. And, I can think about when I was back in college and people were telling me to get rest. And, and I was thinking about getting rest, and then all of the hundreds and thousands of people who would miss me if I didn't attend that party. Half of them didn't even know I was there, let alone them missing me. But nonetheless, listen, but guess what? That was number three in our conversation. Making sure that I communicated with them about getting some rest. And guess what? When we set up that room, and I'm so glad we're talking about this. I'm so glad you all have DM'd me, and I I apologize if I was unable to DM you back immediately. As you all know, I was down and out and still feeling a little, congested a little bit and needing to pause between breaths and all of that. But when we slipped onto that college campus to set up those rooms, we made sure that we were setting up the room and it was sleep friendly. Nice bedding, nice comforter. Wish I could just flash a couple of pics right now. Pictures on the wall, and that it just looked comfortable, and that, just and welcoming and inviting to rest. Even if, maybe they wanted to take an afternoon nap or something like that, just, that it was in that they were not only resting, but then also, guess what, exercising. For a while there, one of my daughters, my middle daughter, she'd jingle me in the morning, or I'd call her. She'd be heading over to the gym before her first class. I'd already be downstairs, in my home, on my home gym, and we just go ahead and knock out about 3 miles, her and I together, before she went back to her dorm room and got dressed. And then I began getting ready for work. And so that we can just have that as some time where we're able to just spend together. And so that's important. So number one, taking care of that mental health and being able to manage stress. Number two, relationship management. When you meet those friends, listen, be friendly. Make sure that, you care about your friend, that you are dependable, and that, it's so important that you are having good relations. Number three, getting the rest that you need. That is so very important. Listen, not too much rest. we still got to get up. We still got to study. We still have to, make sure we're doing what we're supposed to do. And then number four, guess what? I made sure, I think while my husband was at the car, I know when we were at Virginia Tech, my husband probably was at the car, and he was still trying to process the fact that we're getting ready to pull off and leave our daughter there on the college campus. I was still sharing with my daughter our expectations. Just didn't want that piece to become clouded in her imagery, that we are so here for a reason. And we want to so envision that end result. And so helping them to picture them walking across the stage, which that did happen. Okay, I won't even go there, because that was in May. And so you all know, you all saw pictures, you all saw videos. So that's what I did before we dropped her off. Wanted her to envision that end result and her walking across the stage. So from time to time, I would just help to solidify that in her imagery. That, oh my goodness, we cannot wait. Also, I wanted her to celebrate the small victories along the way. She got a scholarship during the time she was on campus to go to Europe, to study abroad. Europe and Australia. There were like 4 different places she went. And so that was a victory. Or if she did great on an assignment, that was another victory. Just helped to celebrate along the way. And then, you know what? Although my daughters laugh at me, and I just remind them of my love language. And I got to be honest with you. And I might need to look this up. I have no idea what the love languages are. I don't. I don't even know. I can't even tell you one of them right now. Because the love language, I tell my daughters, my love language, just so that they know my love language is Finnish. They say, that's not a love language. I say, it's mine. And then I say, you know what? Okay, so if it's not Finnish, then my love language, just so you know, and I want you all to tell me your love languages as well. And as a matter of fact, mothers, why don't you just go ahead and drop your love language in the chat? How about that? Just drop your love language in the chat, please. I'd like to know your love language. Because when they told me Finnish is not a love language, which, okay, I do believe them. I don't know what the love languages are. I told them, okay, so if Finnish is not my love language, it's done. Let's get it done. So Drop your love language down. I'd like to know what yours is. And in the meantime, between now and the time I see yours, then maybe I will have gone to look them up just so that, of course, I will know what they are myself, actually. But until I look them up, by golly, finished and done are mine. So that's number 4, is sharing expectations. And then number 5, and this is going to wrap us up. And then I'm going to take these earrings off, and then I'm going to make sure that, I've gotten myself some water, and then go back to resting. But number 5, what we discussed before I jumped in that car and hugged and kissed them as tears flowed, was to trust God. I'm unable to even think through what any end result could be, would be, without our Heavenly Father. You all know that's just that's how we roll. That's how we operate. That's how we navigate, because we know that He is our refuge. He is our strength. Present help, according to King David in Psalm 46:1 and a portion of 2, in our time of trouble. So we will not fear. We won't fear any professors. We will not fear any staff, faculty, anyone on the campus. We will not fear corona. In the name of Jesus, we will not fear. So that's what I talked to them about. I left them with that, to saturate yourself in your Bible. Attend a Bible study so that you will have other people holding you accountable. It warmed my heart when my daughter, she told us, because I was going to say absolutely nothing, because we'd raised them all these years here at the house. So when we got to the college campus, she said, okay, it was like day 2 that we were there, and she said, okay, well, I need to find a church home. So let's get in the car, let's go find a church. I almost wanted to do like 2 backflips and a double fool. we immediately found a church home, and so she's under watch care at that church. Love them. I want also during that conversation, we talked just a little bit about, and I hear this, I'm uncertain where this came from. When I talk about trusting God, there's some people who say, they're like self-made. They're like self. I promise I'm unable to understand that. I'm not self-made. Our family is not self-made. It's because of the grace of God that He has like navigated and maneuvered, and He has guided and led these steps every step of the way. So trusting God is critical, and being careful of being aware of the talk and the actions around you, and even your own, even my daughter's own actions and their talking, and all of that is so critical. All of that is so critical. And I know that my daughter had started attending a Bible study while she was there on campus, and she went one time and one time only, and she made mention that, of course, when she first got there, and was setting up and doing all of that, and they were setting up, and then the leader of the Bible study, there was just profanity, like here and there from beginning to the end of the Bible study. And so we want to be aware of the actions and the talk that's going on around us, and we want to make sure that's in line with what thus saith the Lord. And some of this is Bible 101, Like we just like no, we just like there's like a resignation in our spirit, or there's like a quickening in our spirit where we know that, okay, so this is some sound teaching here. This is some this, and this may not be sound. So we want to discern to make sure that we're in good and right company. So mothers, those are my five. Those are the topics that I discussed with my daughters here or there or both, etc. Number one, making sure they're able to manage that stress and getting help immediately. There's help on campus. Okay, so is there enough? I'm uncertain, depends on the campus. But get help immediately to deal with that stress. That's very, very important so that you can manage. So you can manage. Number one, it's I'm unable to identify just how important that is to take care of yourself. Number one. Number two, relationship management. Interacting with those in other individuals properly and maintaining friendships and enjoying one another and being able to just relate and just grow you and your friends together. I still have college friends that we're in touch all the time. Just would not give those friendships up for the world, Okay, and number three, rest. Get the rest that they need. It's so important. Listen, mothers, it may seem like you're talking to, yes, a brick wall, but please still say it. You'd be amazed at what actually gets caught between this ear and that ear, right up here in this frontal lobe. You'd be surprised. So that number three, getting rest. Number four, it's okay time to time to share those expectations and keep that end result in mind, and and so we can avoid getting lost in the shuffle, or in making sure that we've prioritized our priorities, keeping the main thing. And then number five, trusting God. Unable to conclude this conversation without making mention of that one at all, because are we self-made? I think not. So listen, those are the five. I'm so glad you've decided to join me. I'm so sorry. I said this would be a short clip. However, it just seemed like there was just much more to each and every one of those 5 points. I am going to say, I'm putting it into the atmosphere. I'm speaking into existence right now that I'm back. So please mark your calendar, set your alarm. Every Thursday, 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, I want to come back. I want to give you this information. It's so important to me, and I hope it's important to you as well. Also, I want you to think about the high school juniors and seniors you know about. Invite them to our group, please. And so that way they can hear this helpful information as well. Listen, a number of them, their sons or daughters are now juniors or now seniors. And so I will be dropping nuggets along the way as long as God gives me the breath to articulate these thoughts and what he's imputed in my spirit to share with you. As long as he does that for me, by golly, I'm going to do it for you. Also, I want to share this with you. There is a group, and the group is called College Admissions Process. And for those of you who have juniors and seniors who for the next year or the next 2 years are interested in identifying scholarships, who are interested in knowing more on a deeper level about financial aid, for those of you all who are interested in maybe even taking an assessment to identify what study or major path your son or daughter may be focused on pursuing, listen, there's this organization, and it's, guess what? It's totally complimentary. No, not even a red cent is needed. That I'd like to introduce you to them. I'd like for you all to be a part as parents of teens. But everything you need to know about college, the college process, at no cost to you, you can learn over the next year. And there's also an opportunity for you to ask questions all over the place. And listen, the person who is over this program, if you will, she is so phenomenal. This is operating up under her administration, and she is a PhD, she's a CPA, and she's a JD. She's all three of those. So listen, to to head up an administration that will allow this process to occur and take place and help college students, then yes, totally qualified. So listen, let me know. I want to get this information to you. So DM me if you'd like to know more, and if you'd like to, in all actuality, be prepared. See, I'm all about preparedness. You know, when my oldest one was getting ready to go off, I was all over it. I spent the time needed to make sure that she had what she needed it prior to launching. I just did. And I want to do the same for you. This is my way of serving. This is my way of giving back. I promise you, mothers. So listen, let me know, because I'd like to get that information to you. And then also, last but not least, I want to encourage, inspire, and motivate you mothers. Let's together, let's uphold our position while we encourage our teens transition. Listen, you're going to hear me saying that more and more. That's my tagline. Let's uphold our position while we encourage our teens transition. I'm going to conclude with that after each and every talk moving forward. You know that I love you all. You pray for me. I'll pray for you. And listen, let's move forward and get through this together. Love you tons. I'll see you next Thursday, 2 p.m. Take care until then. Goodbye.